Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing this month's Sketchbox April 2021. And as usual, the full description of each item will be listed in the box below. And let's get started.
Please, sir! I'm late for a very important date. No time to say hello, goodbye. I'm late.
It must be awfully important, like a party or something. Mr. Rabbit, wait!
So I had a little postal service drama, which is why my video is so late, but I finally got my package. I'm here, and first things first is the menu and the art by, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his or her name. So let's put this to the side, put the sticker in my sketchbook as always, and get to swatching. The first thing that I pulled out of the box is the Marabu inks that retail for $9.87. I'll also be using this little palette that I received from a previous Sketchbox. These were alcohol inks, so it shouldn't make a difference since it's all dry, but I'll be using the empty wells anyways. Then I have this Silver Brush Crystal Series Filbert size 02 retailing for $5.30. The inks are Sunshine Yellow, Quin Gold, and Pyrrole Red. So the two yellows may seem familiar wet on paper, but when they dry, the gold one is more on the orange side, and the Quin Gold looks as though it's like olive in the bottle. The red isn't as pigmented as I thought it would be. It doesn't really seem close to a solid primary red either, but it's still a very nice color and it's very buildable, so I did like that about it. I also mixed up the colors to see what kind of oranges they would produce, and these colors really give me nice sherbet sunset vibes. After I waited for the red to dry, I did test out to see how buildable it was, and it really built up nicely and did not disturb the paint underneath, so that was a definite plus. They also blend together really nicely. I think the red and the Quin Gold would make some really nice skin tone colors if you lighten it just a little bit with water, obviously. The only issue that I see is the diversity in the different kinds of skin tones that you'll be able to make with this, only because the next item is the Stoneground Watercolor Hudson Blue Bay, retailing for $5.91. It has that really beautiful shimmery color. The color is buildable and the blue is so intense that I really haven't seen another watercolor like it before. It really makes me excited to use it in some upcoming pieces, but it's not very blendable with the red. So that's why I'm saying I'm not sure how the range would go for making skin tones with the things that they sent us. I made a very shimmery muted purple when I blended it with the red, and it did make some beautiful greens with the yellows. Oh, and did I mention that these are handmade? So I absolutely love it already. So that's really exciting. I need to try it out more to see how I can make these possible skin tones, but I'm not exactly sure yet. We'll see how it ends up working out. And here is the Ecoline Brush marker retailing for $4.25 with a nice brush tip. And here I am forgetting that this is an April box, not the March box. So I tried to cover up with a question mark and an April Fool's title. This mistake did give me a nice chance to see how water soluble this marker is, which to my surprise worked out very nicely. But ultimately, I did think that the box could have gone without this marker. I'm very excited for this next item here, the Smith Watercolor Stick in genuine Sodalite, I think it's pronounced, retailing for an amazing $14.57. First, I tried to use my brush directly on it, as I've seen in other videos, and it worked out very nicely. Then I tried to use it as a crayon, but that didn't work out quite well, so I tried to dip it into the water and use it to write with, but the tip would dry up very quickly. So then I wanted to see how soluble it was once on paper, and it honestly did not want to go anywhere, which can be a good thing because I'm probably going to be using it directly with my brush anyways, but for people who like to just go directly on paper, it might not work so well because, in my opinion, you do have to add some pressure to it to get it down. But it did work out rubbing on the palette and picking up pigment for mixing. So I really enjoyed making this olive looking green when I mixed it with some yellow, and this color might help me achieve some variety with these skin tones that I'm looking for. Also, we have a Staedtler pigment liner in a dark brown size 0.5. I love getting brown fine liners. It just gives it the right amount of line work without being too harsh, especially for translucent mediums. Can't go wrong with a waterproof marker. It retails for $5.10. Also taping the art and the menu into my sketchbook so I could always come back and refer to the items we received. And now, in my opinion, the star of the show, what I'm absolutely so excited to receive this month, is the custom Magnani accordion style sketchbook. It is a watercolor sketchbook. It retails for only $5.95. I've always wanted a sketchbook like this, and so I've decided to make this a fan art sketchbook. So the first one that we're going to be starting with is Aang from Avatar. My husband told me that they're coming back with a studio, so I'm so excited for that and the series that they will be releasing. And on this side of the book, I want to do all my favorite scenes from Avatar / characters. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to filling this thing out. On the other side will just be a regular old fan art pages. So comment if there's any character in particular that you would like me to try out. As I mentioned earlier, the red wasn't as intense as I was hoping for an ink, but it was very buildable, which was nice because then I wouldn't need as much water to dilute the ink. But the downside is that I would have to wait for the layer to dry to add more, which can end up being a little bit of a downside for me because, as I've mentioned many times before, I'm just an extremely impatient painter, which is not the best thing. Also, I'd like to make note that these inks do dry a lot lighter than when you put them down, except for the Daniel Smith. I found that that one does dry somewhat dark. So the issue that I had was I tried to mix Daniel Smith in with some of the red and the gold to make a skin tone shadow, but he ended up looking like he had more of a 5 o'clock shadow instead of just regular face shadows. I think if I would have used only the gold and the red, like how I left it to dry, then it would have worked out a lot better. Another thing that I did to try to fix that problem was use my Copic Opaque to kind of whiten the area again and then just go over it with gold and red, which did end up looking a lot better. So all in all, I did about 3 layers to make this illustration, and here is the reference that I used from a blog site that was talking about the return of Avatar. So really exciting. Can't wait to see what they're going to come up with. Supposedly it's the same writers, so we'll see what happens. And so yeah, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. Please enjoy the time lapse if you decide to watch the rest of it and see how I ended up fixing my mistakes. I did go over it with the red to get a nice intense red about 3 times. Here is where I mixed that quin gold and the red to make a skin tone, and at first I thought it looked a little too yellow, but you'll see later on when it dries it actually does make a really nice skin tone, but I had to add a lot of water to it, so be mindful of that. They do dry lighter, except for that Daniel Smith, which kind of threw me off my game because I kind of assumed that the Daniel Smith would also lighten the same way. I don't know why I would do that, but I did. So yeah, he ends up looking like he had a 5 o'clock shadow at first until I went back and tried to fix it. You'll see at some point when it's dry, I'll try to leave like a marker on it of when I'm starting my second layer. And I honestly should have left it like that or just added one more layer of the gold and the red, and I think that would have been just fine. But that's what mistakes are for, to learn from them and to experiment with them. I'm really looking forward to working in this sketchbook, and I'm not going to be just using the materials sent from Sketchbox. I will also be trying out different materials in it just to see how it goes so I can give it a fair shot. Last month when I did my update, I realized that I was only using the materials that was sent with each other and didn't try to experiment. Like, for example, I tried the paper that I hated so much as a paper palette, and that ended up working out great for me. So I didn't give that paper another fair shot of trying out different markers with it instead of just the markers that was sent in the Sketchbox. So this month I'll be doing more experimenting so that I can give each individual item a fair shot in their update video. So we are so close to 300 subscribers, which is absolutely insane to me. I'm very excited for that. I have a sketchbook tour coming up soon. I think I have about maybe 9 pages left. So by the time we hit hopefully 300, the sketchbook will be finished and I can show you my sketchbook tour. It starts off really meh, but it does get better, I think. This is the first sketchbook that I've ever actually completed. Before that, I would just paint on canvas or doodle or whatever, not keep track of my work. So very exciting stuff. Thank you so much for sticking through this video with me. And if you're a subscriber, thank you so much for showing interest in my videos. I mean, even if you're not a subscriber, thank you so much for at least watching my video and sticking this far through. I like to do unboxings of Sketchbox, Palettefull, and possibly Artful. We'll see how that goes along. I'm still kind of unsure about it, but yeah, you can also go onto my Instagram and participate in my polls and help me decide what I'm going to draw for the day. So thank you so much once again, I think for like the 3rd time, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. It's worked out for me. Here's the end results. This looks way better.